Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session with Myla in Spain. And today I'm delighted to have Beatriz join us from Aybar Architecture. How are you, Beatriz?
Very well. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you this
Ah,
morning.
fantastic. Really glad you could join us. And today we're going to be talking about AFOs and DAFOs in Andalusia. So, Beatrice, we get a lot of clients who buy properties inland, and we always advise them that they should have an AFO or a DAFO in place. Tell us, what is a DAFO or an AFO?
Yeah, well, DAFO, AFO, RAFO, the name varies depending on the municipality. But in all the cases, the AFO it is a procedure that allows illegal buildings to gain official recognition. So then you can make it legally usable and granting access to certain services. For example, is the only solutions for clients looking for to renovate this type of properties, but it's also interesting to clients they are looking for to increase the property value.
Okay, so okay. First question then, Beatrice, can I buy a property without a DAFO?
Yes, of course, you can buy a property without an AFO.
Okay,
In fact, in Spain, you can legally bought and sold any property. I don't know,
okay,
even illegal properties in with demolition orders can be transferred.
okay,
I mean, the AFO, the difference with the AFO is that the property's value will be directly affected by its legal situation. That's why it is always good to have it, but of course you can buy without it.
okay. So I always explain to clients that an AFO, DAFO, RAFO, SAFO is basically means the property is out of regulation. So
Mhm,
it was built or it was extended
mhm,
without planning permission.
exactly.
The local town hall hasn't taken action to demolish it, and
Mhm.
therefore it's in a situation of it's not legal, but it's accepted. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, illegal property in Spain is when you buy a plot, you hire an architect, you get building license, you build exactly the same as you were authorized to do, and then you get the first occupation license after the town hall visit the property. Only a property who follow all these steps is legal. If you if you just build illegally or without all these phases, then after some years, in some cases, and with some scenarios, we are able to regularize the properties.
Yeah.
So after the regularization, you can get another license from the town hall to refurbishment and all this.
Okay. Yeah. So when I came back to Spain in 2003, Beatrice, we bought a plot of land in Torrox. I
Mhm.
applied for planning permission. The town hall took a long time to issue, but eventually they issued it. We bought the house according to planning permission, signed the declaration confirming the end of the build. The town hall came inspected and gave us the license of first occupation. So that's the kind of legal way of,
Exactly.
of
That
buying
would
a
be the
property.
legal way.
And what we're talking about now is we're talking about properties that haven't followed that process, but may have been extended
Mhm,
throughout their lifetimes, and
mhm,
now we want to regularize the properties. Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So to tell me what how, how would you go about regularizing a property that needs a DAFO?
I'm not sure what you mean. Could you
Okay,
please?
so I'm interested in a property that has been extended.
Mhm.
Okay, and we know that it's been there for more than 6 years. Um,
Yeah, but there is many scenario. Well, before to initiating the alpha procedure, we always prepare a planning assessment report. It's not just let's go carry on with the alpha. It's not that simple. We need to study what situation we are, if we have first occupation license of part of the house, if the house is fully legally or only a part of it. And then so in this planning assessment report, we study the legal terms, regime, age, classification, protections, risks, Andalusian government normative, town hall normative because it changed depending on the town hall. We need to visit the property to compare what we have in the reality and what it is allowed to be done in the urban plannings. And with all the information, we finally compile like a detailed report outlining the regularization options, the exact actions that we have to carry out, and the associated cost. It's not the same. It's not all the same, because maybe we only have a small part, we have to be regularized, or maybe it is the full house, maybe we have to install a septic, or we need to do some works. So it's not like a standard work to be done in every property. I'm afraid that like it's illegal situation require particularly a study of each case in
Okay.
order to know how to proceed.
Okay, so it's a case by case basis, and also a case by case basis, Beatrice, because town halls are different from town to town. Yeah.
Absolutely. The taxes are different, the requirements are different. We have like some common Andalusian requirements, and this is for all the same, but it's make change different in between one another. Also, even the time frame is not the same. Mijas that minimum are 3 years, that Tolox that could be 9 months, for example, as you mentioned. It's huge difference in between one another.
Okay, so I mean, so that yeah, so a DAFO. I do remember a few years back we were acting for someone who's buying in Almeria, and they negotiated the purchase price, and we said we would complete when the DAFO was completed, and the DAFO in Almeria took about 6 months to come through, but and they signed the contract, they paid the 10% and completed when the DAFO came through, and we've done that a few times, but because of the time scales that it takes, 9 months, 12 months, years.
Well, yeah, well, imagine that, for example, if AFO can be also granted in urban area, but also in land. When we are in land in the country, it sometimes is not just involved the town hall, also the Andalusian government it is involved, because you have a creek nearby, we have a cattle track, or we have a road or high tensions. So in some scenario we can need 5 years.
Wow,
Depending if many, depending who will be involved.
yeah.
Because the town hall itself, they're slow, but the Andalusian government, it's even slower.
Yeah. So Beatrice, basically the advice to clients who want to buy an inland property or a property that has been extended is always to kind of have an experienced architect like yourself visit the property, see how much is registered at the land registry and the cadastral registry, and then look at the local regulations at the town hall. Yeah, we'd always recommend that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because after do this like planning report, as I mentioned, we can know where we are. We need to know what work have to be carried out, what are the time frame, what are the costs associated, and then we will be able to decide. Okay, it is 6 months or 5 years. It is 20,000, 10,000, 50,000, or it is even not possible. Not always is possible. We have to have in mind that we are talking about illegal properties. So not all the cases can be regularized. Sometimes a low profile is our best option.
Right. So, but we're the whole of the DAFO process is about regularizing the property.
Exactly.
So we want to be in a position whereby all the square meters are registered at land registry. Yeah.
Yeah, this is but this is the land registry. This is to buy and sell, to get the mortgage, but that make not the house regularized. Remember, we are talking the legal house is such as get the architect permit license with the license for occupation license. So the AFO is something similar. So we need to obtain it from the town hall, and the registering land is not related to the town hall. It's just to have at least the deeds correct. So in case that the AFO will take a long time to obtain, or you don't want to reform or whatever, at least have to be properly registered. It's like, okay, it's so you are buying the square meter that you already have, but it's nothing to do. Land registry and AFO is absolutely different things.
Yeah. So the AFO is the local process that you follow to regularize the property at the town hall. Yeah.
It's like a license. It's sort of license.
Yeah, retrospective licenses for the property.
Yes.
Okay. Well, okay. Tell us what costs are involved in the DAFO process.
Yeah, remember, as we just mentioned, the cost varies according to many factors. Size, because we pay a percentage of the value of the building value. So it's not the same 100 house that 1,000 square meter house, absolutely different. Also depend on the antiquity. Sometimes when the house is very old in the country before 70, before the 70s, and in urban areas before the 86, we have like some reduced taxes. But so depend on the age, the size, and the works which are involved. That's why we need to first study the property, being able to say how much it's gonna be, because all we are usually big amounts.
Okay.
It's like expensive issue
It's
because
an
nobody ever got license for it. Nobody ever paid to an architect. Nobody paid nothing at all. They just built that part. So now they have to pay what wasn't paid before.
Yeah. So Beatrice, so basically, yeah, they're paying taxes now. So yeah, when I applied for planning permission, I, based on the build size and the cost of the build, I had to pay taxes to the town hall. And this is what someone has to do. So,
Exactly the same, but afterwards.
okay, so the main costs are obviously would be taxes to the town hall,
Yes.
architects' costs, and what about the septic tank? Is a septic tank?
Yes, it's what I mean. Well, it can be made. It's a septic tank. It's something that you need, but sometimes if you are imagining sometimes septic, or maybe you have to connect to the main sewage if that is possible. But also, I don't know, if the water is not working properly, or you don't have mixed water, and also if you have some big problems in the property, you need to reform because it have to be habitable. So it's not like a fixed price. It's not just taxes. It's taxes, actions necessary to carry out, and fees, architecture, topographer for fees. But usually the main cost is the taxes. Of course, depending on what works require the property. If everything is fine, but it's rare that everything is fine. So some works have to be done in the property before. At least the septic tank in the 90% of the cases.
Okay, so yeah, so if you've got a house with a septic tank, normally you would have to connect it to the mains water or
If
change.
it's possible, maybe sometimes it's not possible.
It's not possible, yeah.
And the septic tank have to follow the regulation. No, I have a septic, it was installed 20 years ago. No, we have to follow the current regulation, the European regulation regarding the non-contamination regulations. So we need to install a septic, which is required right now.
Okay, so like an up-to-date, ecological friendly septic tank, yeah?
Exactly that.
Which obviously costs money, yeah.
Yes.
So,
At least 6,000, 7,000 euros.
wow, yeah, it's not cheap. Not cheap.
No.
Not cheap.
Not cheap. No.
Bear in mind what it does, you know. Okay, so basically, there's no guarantee that I'll get a DAFO, and that's actually true because we acted for a client. You know, we acted for a client in Monda, in Malaga, and they were buying a property that required an AFO, and we met with the town hall architect, the town hall lawyer. They told us the cost of the AFO. We started the process with the local architect, and then the town hall stopped all AFOs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, that's why it's important to do this pre-report, because an AFO is an expensive work and have no sense to carry on with it if it is not possible to obtain it. Because the AFO, imagine you need, I don't know, 20 requirements.
Yeah.
You cannot say, no, I have 19. No. If you don't have the 20, it doesn't matter if you have 19. You need to follow all the regulations. But then there is cases as Monda, for example, that they have the normative and they should grant the AFO. Since 2013, they have grant none.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to know the area, you need to be a specialist in this type of work. Otherwise, you can spend thousands of euros and be worthless and only generate frustration. That is why important to check in advance before to just carry on. Because
so when do I know? How do I know if I need an AFO, Beatrice? So I mean,
it is easy. Do you have first occupation license? And the house is exactly the same as it is described in the first occupation license, then you don't need it.
right.
If you don't have a first occupation license and the first occupation license, it is the same, because imagine you can have a 1 floor, 20 square meters first occupation license, but then you have 200 square meters. Okay, so the 20 square meters are legal, but what about the 190? So if you don't have a first occupation license where the house is exactly described it, and it is right now in your reality, then, well, or you need an AFO, or you need to get an updated first occupation license. Sometimes it's possible to legalize it through the first occupation license. So, but we need to study what option we have. And
Okay.
if we legalize it with license or regularize it through AFO, depending.
And Beatrice, if I'm buying a property and it hasn't got a license for first occupation, but I said I want to make some changes to this property and then apply for the AFO, is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, when you have the AFO, I mean, if you have an illegal house, you have an illegal house, it has been extended with a license, but an illegal house, after to obtain the AFO, the town hall will issue the necessary permit for the refurbishment. So you can't reform the house after you get the AFO. And you
Okay.
can do, I mean, also it is important depending on the town hall. For example, Marbella or Coín or Laurina Grande, but you can, or Mijas, you can do full refurbishment. You can just leave the shell and do completely new layout, new windows, but after the AFO. It's not like you can do nothing. No, you can do a lot of work, but after. Before you will, the town hall cannot grant it
Okay.
on an illegal house. Yeah.
So basically, if I wanted to carry out, say I said I want, I bought the house today. I know it's illegal, but I want to add another bedroom or a bathroom. I want to change something. How long do I have to wait until I should apply for the AFO?
No, this, as I said, the problem is it's not like a generalized scenario. I mean, you need how it's because it's saying how long it will take the AFO, depending on the town hall. So we need to check the property, see if the house is legal or not. It can be legalized or it is regularized through AFO. If we have more meters, that we can extend it. If we cannot, it's like the problem is not something. It's not the standard. It's not the standard.
Yeah. Okay. But for example, is it usually like 6 years? Once something's been built for 6 years, then I can register it?
Yeah, in urban area, 99% of the cases. In urban area, rustic is different. Rustic we have many protection, affection, risks, flooded area, I don't know, erosion area. So we need to check. Sometimes it doesn't matter how long it will take in the country properties, it will never be able to regularize it.
Okay. So the best
country, in urban area, only if you have built on a street or you have built on a green area, on a park, that will be impossible. But if you have extended on your own land, after 6 years, 99% of the cases can carry it.
You can get registered. Okay.
But not only the antiquity is the factor, you need to follow more requirements.
Yeah.
Even with the antiquity, you cannot obtain it.
Yeah. So Beatrice, I mean, what areas of Spain do you cover for this?
We all cover Andalusian because in Spain we are like we made the doctor course in we are architects but in laws, but urbanistic laws.
Yeah.
So we're very specialized in this type of problems. But it's Andalusian normative is different to the other communities. That's why if I was asked to do some legalization in Valencia, but for me it has no sense because we don't really control that area because the regularization is absolutely different in the different communities. So we work in all Andalusian. Yes,
and I imagine there's quite a lot of properties in Andalusia which need your
work,
which need your help.
That's fine.
Okay, so the best advice to listeners is that if you're buying a rural property or a property that hasn't got a license of first occupation that has been extended in Andalusia, you know that it may require a DAFO, and the best advice is to instruct an architect to visit the property and advise you on the DAFO process beforehand.
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, because sometimes it's not possible, sometimes it's very expensive, sometimes it will take a long time. So it's good to know what works are necessary to be done and what will be the cost associated before start.
And from a practical legal perspective, what we tend to do, Beatrice, is obviously we work with architects and specialists like yourself. We would obtain a quote from you to obtain the DAFO, and then normally we would retain those monies from the purchase price because a lot of people want to buy the property and they because they fall in love with the property and they're happy for the DAFO process to catch up later.
Yeah, actually, this planning assessment report that we do, we usually recommend to do it before the purchase. So like you already have the costs of the procedure, you can negotiate the price.
Yeah.
Maybe get a discount or share the costs, or maybe, yeah, but you will have the information in advance. So maybe you can negotiate. Sometimes we know that some clients do proceed that way.
Okay.
We are not involved because this is the lawyer work. So we only provide information and then you play with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Beatriz, you're the specialist in DAFOs, all things DAFO, all DAFOs in Andalusia. Thank you very much for joining me today.
So it was a pleasure. Thank you for just work with us.
Thank you very much.